Good evening. Is my lean starting? Hold on. That's a little better. Okay, well, I'm not going to wait for anybody to come in the room. I guess you'll catch this as I dispense it. Listen, before I begin, I want to give a couple of disclaimers. Number one, this does not speak to my current situation. Let me turn this TV on because that's distracting me. Okay, that's better. This does not speak to my current situation. I'm going to start with that. Number two, the person and their situation that I'm referencing in this, they gave me permission, so I'm not exposing anybody or putting anybody on blast. The third thing is I'm going to be as brief as I possibly can, and I'm also going to be very truthful in what I have to say. It's not based on opinion. It's based on, this is something that I feel like y'all need to know. And feel free to share this because, I'm going to stand up for mine. And I'm also going to stand up for those who I feel have been wronged. Also, I want to make it clear that I know there are two sides to every story. And whereas I don't have the other side of the story, I don't think that my friend would lie to me. Now, we are in a global pandemic. This is something that we have never seen in our lifetime. This pandemic has peeled back the onion of and exposed a lot of things. I could get into the current events portion of it about how socially inept people are, how selfish people are, how evil people are, how murderous people are. But I'm not going to get into that right now. But I'm going to focus on one thing, and that is the church. Now, I know preachers, not all preachers, but there are a lot of pastors, believe it or not, that believe that they are infallible and they are above it all. And nobody is allowed to tell them what to do. Well, correction, sir. And in this day and age, ma'am and sir, you are very wrong. Whereas you are the pastor, you are the under shepherd. Okay? You are not above reproach. You are a servant leader. People are trusting you to lead them, but as members of the body of Christ, we do have a right to call you out, especially if you're doing something wrong. Once again, I'm not going to jump to conclusions. I'm only speaking based on what I have been told from my source. So let me get into this, and I'm going to do my best to keep this brief, and I'm going to do my best not to babble because I have the tendency to do that. So here's the situation. As I started to say, this pandemic has revealed some things as it pertains to how this world really is. Okay? If you thought you knew, you really know now. But as it pertains to the church, one thing it has revealed is a lot of churches are just not financially prepared for a crisis. Evidence of that is you have entire churches that have completely shut down as a result of this pandemic. And they are waiting for enough time to pass and for the curve to come down, or there be a vaccine or something so they can open back up, so they can resume, and then it'll probably be back to business as usual. Some churches are working on a plan now to slowly open back up. At least they are around here. There's talk of going to multiple services now. Instead of having one service, maybe 2, 3, My friend told me yesterday that they're going to 5 services to accommodate the number of people that they have in the congregation that want to come back to church, but obviously you can't have everybody back at once. And then there are some churches that are going to resume. However, due to financial binds, they're not able to pay everybody like they were. That's understandable. I won't get into preparedness and how they should have been ready, so forth and so on. We'll get into that another time. But this is what I don't like. And I'm just going to be blunt. And I'm not naming names. I'm not naming institutions. But churches, if you find... Well, let me say this real quick. I'm not dragging it out. I promise you I'm not. But I'm furloughed right now. I'm the minister of music of Antioch Baptist Church, where I'm still active and have been since before this broke out. And since this broke out, I'm still active at Antioch. Thank God for Antioch. I still have that income. I'm also furloughed. I am actually furloughed from Mount Moriah Baptist Church. They tried to make a go of the webcast, but it wasn't working out for one reason or another. And due to the fact that we have an older congregation at Mount Moriah, he decided to go ahead and just shut down. Understandable. So I'm furloughed from there. I'm also the minister of music for the New Era Baptist Convention Nebraska chapter. We would normally be preparing for our Congress coming up in June, but guess what? We're shut down, aren't we? I'm also the music director for Mutual of Omaha. I only work for them 5 months out of the year, January and February, then October through December. Well, January and February is out the way. I don't know about October through December. But that's seasonal work. So I have one source of income right now, and I'm grateful. Okay, it could be worse. I've lost about half my salary, but God is still good. But this is one problem, and now I'm going to get into it, I promise you. Churches, if you find that you can no longer afford your musician or your musicians or your minister of music, then that's fine. I understand. They understand. Times are hard right now. 30-some million people are out of work. Totally understandable. But here's the problem. Whether it be a furlough or a layoff or an elimination of the position, here's what you don't do. Don't let somebody go by way of social media. That is tacky. That is tired. And it shows a certain lack of decorum and a total lack of respect for that individual. I don't care if they've been serving in your ministry for 5 months, 5 weeks, 5 years, 15 years, whatever the length of time may be. To let somebody go by way of social media, even if it is a direct message, is very, very, very tacky. Very, very, very tacky. It shows that you have no respect for them. It shows that you would give them no dignity. And I don't even care if they're not a member of your church. The fact that they have been serving, and that's the thanks they get, send them, call me. You know what I mean? Pick up a phone. You have my number. Well, I'm going to quit saying me because people think I'm talking about me. You have their number. You have their email address. Okay? You know how to text message. If you want to do FaceTime, or if you want to do a video conference, you could have used the video feature on that social media site. You could use Google video service, but to eliminate somebody's position, then make them aware of it by way of social media is so classless. It really is. Now, the flip side of that record is this, musicians, is if after this is over, you decide you don't want to go back, to the church you were playing for, fine. But you might want to resign now. If you know you're not going back, you might want to go ahead and send your letter of resignation now. Okay? Don't text. Don't call. But email, snail mail, put it in writing. Thank them for the opportunity and let them know that you won't be returning. Don't just not show up, because that puts a bad light on you. That shows that you don't have any respect for the institution that you have been playing for and serving at. Once again, nobody saw this coming. Nobody knew this was going to happen. If you would have told me a year ago, 6 months ago, if you would have told me in December of 2019 that in the spring of 2020 we would be quarantined in a global pandemic, I would have been like, really? That happens in the movies. That doesn't happen in real life. Well, guess what? But nobody saw this coming. And once again, this caught some people off guard. This caught many people off guard. The musicians, if you decide you don't want to go back to the church you've been playing for, resign now. Don't put somebody in a position of once they open back up and they trying to get things back to normal. Now on top of that, they got to go through the burden of trying to find somebody to replace you. That's not right, and it's not fair. So that's the gist of what I wanted to say. Churches, have more respect for your staff and your personnel, especially your musicians, because you can pretend like you don't need music, but you do. Trust me. And this might sound a little bit shady. A lot of churches, that's all y'all really pretty much got going for you is the music. I said it and I stand by it. Because when a lot of people go live, like I said in another video, it looks like y'all having Sunday school at 12 noon on a Sunday. Because it ain't nobody in there. And this was before the pandemic. But I didn't mean to get into all that. But I stand by what I said. Okay? So anyway, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. That really, really bothered me. I didn't take it personal because, like I said, that doesn't speak to my situation. I'm very happy at the two churches I play for. It's not perfect, but it's really good. You know what I mean? I'm treated with respect. I feel appreciated. But to be summarily dismissed by way of social media is completely inexcusable. Oh, that is so tacky. Well, that's all I have to say for now. I said I was going to keep this brief, and I think I did a pretty good job. All right. So you pray for me. I'll pray for you. Pray for our nation. Pray for those. We'll just pray for everybody. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say. Oh, yeah, and also want to pray for the Rollerson family on the loss of brother Alton Rollerson. I liked Alton. He was cool people. He would call me from time to time, but yeah, I was really sad to hear of his passing the other day. So pray for the Rollersons. All right, that's it. Thank you for this space.